1,
2, 3,
4, 5,
6.
Fiscal cliff. Today I'm here to address to you guys a current situation in America that we're facing, which is called the fiscal cliff. It's never happened before, and we are here looking at it today. I want to tell you guys the word fiscal cliff was first introduced by Ben Bernanke, who is the U.S. Federal Reserve chairman on February 2012. Fiscal cliff is a financial crisis that has led to increased taxes and spending cuts that may bring the nation to another recession the beginning of 2013. There's many reasons why the fiscal cliff is occurring, and there's two major things: tax expirations and spending cuts. First, the Bush tax cuts that was extended by President Obama in 2010 is come to an end at the end of 2012. There's going to be an across-the-board spending cuts. There's a spending budget that they have right now, which is going to end in the end of December 2012. The alternative minimum tax threshold that was created in the year 2000 is also coming to expiration in the year 2012. The expiration of measuring of Medicare sustained growth rate is also coming at the end of 2012. There's the Social Security benefit payroll cut that was introduced at 2% is also coming at an expiration. The federal unemployment benefits that Obama extended 3 years ago is also coming to an end at beginning of end of 2012. The new taxes that are imposed for affordable health care and education is also coming to an end in 2012. There's going to be increases in taxes that the American economy is going to slow down. The more of the businesses, because of these tax cuts, are going to go offshore, and the U.S. will experience a lot of less business investments in the U.S. because of these tax increases. Most of the small and large businesses will reduce business expansion and lay off employees. Unemployment will rise to over 9%, which means there's going to be about 2.8 million jobs that are going to be lost in the first year, which is 2013. And 55% of those jobs are going to go offshore. A lot of these jobs are going to be IT jobs because that's a field that America is leading for offshoring. People will spend less money and more of the money will go into paying taxes. 90% of the people living in America today will be affected by these tax increases. There's also going to be an increase on capital tax. So if you buy a property, you're going to pay extra taxes for buying that property, and the seller will also pay extra taxes for selling that property. They're also increasing taxes on the top 5% of the wealthiest people in America, which are running most of the large companies in America. The federal income tax, which comes out of your paycheck, is going to go from 10 to 15%. People will deposit less money in the banking system, which will cause another financial crisis. The automobile, the real estate business, the housing market, everything will go into recession because of such high taxes. Imagine paying 15% tax on a $200,000 house. That's $30,000 in taxes you'll pay on the first year. And there's also going to be a massive increase in crime rates because people will have no money. They're going to be jobless. So the crime rate will increase also. Now, the effects of the spending cut will mostly be experienced by the U.S. defense budget, so our military will be reduced, and the military will come back into the states, and they'll be out of a job. And they won't be getting benefits because the military benefit is also being addressed. A lot of the medical and research development is also going to be reduced. Most of the federal domestic programs, such as the parks that they're creating, the national parks, a lot of the national roads that they're developing, a lot of things are going to be cut. Majority of the healthcare system will be affected by the Medicaid reform. Right now, doctors are getting a 90-day turnaround for Medicaid customers or patients. It's going to become 180 days, and only 20% of that money will be paid in 120 days. So if you were to go to the doctor today and use Medicaid, they won't get paid for 180 days, and they'll only get 20% of that. The rest of the money will be spread out into weeks, so the doctors will probably run away from getting Medicaid customers. Now, there's three options being considered by the government today. Option A is the short-term Bush tax increase just to extend what we are living in today, to give them more time. The other one is what Obama is looking into right now, which is allowing the nation to go over the cliff and just to see how we react, and then based on that reaction, they will do their adjustments. Or the third is go ahead and increase taxes, go ahead and do the spending cuts, but offer incentives for business people to continue business development and to increase the offshoring to be, to reduce the offshoring, They need to do something to address the unemployment and also create benefits to bring the ones that have gone out to bring them back in. Now, to recap, the fiscal cliff, what it can do to you is basically it will give you less buying power, prices of goods and services will be increased, you will have to work more hours and your paycheck will be a lot smaller even though you work more hours. Your paycheck will be reduced by 15% just by the taxes, not Medicaid, none of that, just the federal income taxes that you're going to have to pay. You will lose a lot of the health benefits because companies will not be able to afford this. You'll end up tapping into your savings most likely. If you lose your job, you're jobless, you may force foreclosure, you may lose everything. So basically the fiscal cliff is a very serious issue that the government needs to address before the end of the year. Raising taxes, cutting spending are the two major things they're working on. And this is something that right now has not been resolved, but if it doesn't, then we will have a situation. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I do. Why did they decide to address this at the last moment?
The reason why they did this is because this was an election year. This did come into the news back in 2011 where they knew that they're coming into a fiscal cliff, where a lot of these taxes, everything is basically coming at the end of the year. A lot of things are changing all at once, which is causing this cliff. But because of the election year, a lot of focus was put onto the election, and then the president, the Congress was out doing their campaigns. So they were kind of shied away from this matter. So right now, it's come back and they're working on this now.
So yeah, what exactly is Congress doing about the fiscal cliff?
Currently in the news, especially if you go to Washington, the White House blogs, you will see they're doing a lot of debates. It's basically the Democrats want one thing, the Republican wants the other, and the president has set in mind that he wants to increase taxes on the rich. So right now they're negotiating, but nothing really is being done. It's quite possible, it's happened before, where things are at the end of the year, and on the last moment, maybe 2 days before the end of the year, you will hear that they've done something about this. Most likely, they're probably going to increase the current Bush tax cuts to give them another quarter to address this issue.
How can we reach out to our politicians?
www.whitehouseblogs.com is a very good medium to reach the president directly. It's been said that President Obama is coming onto that blog on a daily basis personally and reading these blogs, and we're actually responding to them, and he's actually creating petitions on these blogs so that he can gain access to what the American people really want and bring those issues into Congress himself. So he's actually using a lot of the technology and using the internet and posting yourself on these blogs and getting your voice heard by your politicians is probably the best way to get onto this. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
Audience countdown?
1,
2,
3,
4, 5,
6.